The Internet of Things, or IoT, is no longer a futuristic concept. It's rapidly transforming industries and reshaping how businesses operate. One example is smart sensors monitoring production lines. IoT devices are weaving themselves into the fabric of modern business operations, but successfully deploying them on your existing network isn't always easy. Want to learn how you can optimize your business operations with proper IoT deployment? Today, I'm going to be covering a comprehensive guide on integrating IoT devices into your network without running into some of the security pitfalls. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Michael Kinnett. I'm CEO and founder of Eternal Networks. And every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Instagram. I think I got them all. To discuss the latest tech and cybersecurity news that might affect businesses like yours and answer any questions that you might have. And in the live stream, I also like to cover educational topics to help other small business owners feel more confident about their knowledge of business technology and cybersecurity. At Eternal Networks, our goal is to help businesses build safe and secure environments to do what they love without worrying about their IT and cybersecurity. So I'll make sure to leave time at the end to answer any questions from the audience. So if you've got them, save them for the end or post them in the comments and I'll get to them at the end. First, this is a busy news week for our cybersecurity things. So we're probably going to spend a little bit more time than normal talking about the news and some of the things that there's a good chance may affect you. First off, this one may not affect you unless you're watching from back east. Here in Nevada, we don't have Ascension, but Ascension is a prominent healthcare provider. They have around 140 hospitals and 40 senior living facilities across 19 states. They're primarily in the Midwest and eastern, southeast United States. They are grappling currently with a cyber attack that has impacted their clinical operations. They're a nonprofit and they detected earlier this week unusual activity on some of the computer systems, prompting them to investigate and take measures to minimize what's going on, right? There's an active cyber attack and they're doing what they can to minimize the disruption to patient care as well as to patient information. The extent and duration of the disruption are still being analyzed by Ascension. We don't know much more other than the fact that they've told people to disconnect the network, disconnect computers, and that it's affecting their provider's ability to provide care for their patients. Ascension has assured that patient care delivery remains a priority, but there's definitely some concerns and there's some limitations right now on what they can provide. There's also concerns over the data compromise and what could be coming out from this. Ascension has already pledged to notify any affected individuals if sensitive information was compromised as part of this breach. Amid growing ransomware threats to the healthcare sector, this single incident underscores the ongoing challenges faced by providers in safeguarding critical systems and patient data. It seems like almost weekly we're hearing about some sort of healthcare provider that's the victim of a cyber attack. All right. Now, if Ascension didn't impact you, if you're not back east or working for one of those facilities, this news may affect you. If you're an AT&T user or customer, or a Microsoft 365 user, which probably covers a good chunk of those in Nevada or the United States, AT&T has been having some issues with their email servers where they are rejecting emails that come from or through Microsoft 365 due to a significant influx of spam that's originating through Microsoft services. This blockade has left AT&T customers unable to receive emails from Microsoft 365 addresses. It's impacted domains like AT&T.com, SBCglobal.net, and BellSouth.com. The issue has sparked widespread concern among users, with reports flooding AT&T forums and claiming that the problem also extends to Gmail. AT&T attributes the problem to a surge in spam that has been sent through Microsoft's platform, causing the delays in email delivery. AT&T has been working with Microsoft to address the issue. Both companies have been fairly silent on the specifics of the spam campaign and exactly what's going on. Amid growing concerns, Microsoft and Google both have implemented some measures to combat spam, including stricter limits and authentication requirements. So if you are an AT&T email user or have others that you're trying to email with AT&T, just know that there's some delays currently going on. They're known about, they're being worked on. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that can be done until AT&T and Microsoft get those things figured out. All right, the next one, also a good chance if you ever used a Dell computer in the last several years, that this one may impact you as well. Dell has alerted their customers about a data breach following a claim from a threat actor stating that they obtained information for around 49 million customers. The breach involved a Dell portal that contained data related to customer purchases. While the stolen data includes names, physical addresses, and Dell hardware details that was purchased, Dell has reassured their customers that financial information, emails, and phone numbers were not compromised as part of the breach. Although Dell is investigating this breach with law enforcement and a forensics firm, specific impact details haven't been disclosed yet. The incident came to light when the threat actor attempted to sell the data on a hacking forum. While the exact risks are still being assessed, customers are advised to remain vigilant against potential phishing attempts or malware via physical mail or email posing as Dell communications. So, like I said, a lot going on in the news this week. Hopefully none of you that are watching have been impacted by those things, but if you are, hopefully now you have a better understanding of what's going on with them. For today's topic, I want to dig in now. We're going to talk about deploying IoT or Internet of Things to your business network. And before I get into the topic and kind of talk about it, I want to share a story. We had a client a year, maybe 2 years ago. We managed their network as a large warehouse, and they were having lots of network issues on their network. And we were troubleshooting and this and that. And we found out that it was because they had 3 IoT scooters connected to their Wi-Fi. And as they were driving these scooters around, it was taking down the network because of some misconfiguration and some issues. And so IoT can be great, but when not done properly, it can cause problems like affecting your network. So before I dig too deep into deploying IoT, I want to talk a little bit more about what IoT is, what Internet of Things is. IoT is a blanket term to describe smart devices that are internet enabled. So those scooters that I mentioned with Wi-Fi on them is one example of IoT. Smartwatches, IoT devices, right? Wi-Fi connected thermostats that optimize energy consumption and is another example of IoT. In my opening, I mentioned other sensors. There's a company that we've partnered with called Swift Sensors that does IoT sensors for freezer units, fridges, ovens, other components in the restaurant industry to monitor and make sure that food is at the right temperature. So we're seeing more and more possibilities of these devices. And essentially that's when we say IoT, that's what we're talking about. It's a device that is internet enabled, meaning that it connects to 5G, 4G, to Wi-Fi, whatever, and it is able to report back in data to a central service. Experts project that the number of connected devices worldwide is going to continue growing. No surprise there. It's estimated to rise from around 15 billion from 2023, so last year, that's how many there were, to around 21 billion in 2026. So the next 2 years, we're talking about 6 billion new devices coming online. IoT devices are weaving themselves into the fabric of modern business operations. But successfully deploying them on your existing network isn't always easy. It can feel like navigating a maze. So if you've been struggling with the integration of smart devices or contemplating adding some smart devices to your business, I'm going to go through and provide a little guide that my team has put together to help you navigate those waters and to prepare for proper IoT deployment. So step 1, if you've watched me before, this should come as no surprise. You need to define your goals and your needs, right? You need to identify what the end goal is and understand where you're at right now. Before diving headfirst into just adding IoT devices to your network, it's important to have a clear vision of your goals. Ask yourself and your team a few questions. These questions will help ensure that you're aligning smart devices with your business needs. What problems are you trying to solve with IoT? Are you aiming to improve operational efficiency? Perhaps you want to gain real-time data insights into parts of your business, or maybe you want to enhance remote monitoring capabilities. It's important that you target your IoT device deployment on what those business needs are. Defining the issue that it's meant to solve will help you to do that up front, so you're not wasting time and resources. What type of data will you be collecting? That's another question that you should ask yourself. Take time to define the nature and volume of data generated by your chosen devices. This is essential for choosing the right network infrastructure. What level of security do you need? Security measures depend on the sensitivity of the data collected. You might need specific measures to protect it from unauthorized access. Go through these questions as a first step. You'll be able to gain a clear picture of your specific needs and plan for that deployment properly to enable you to select the most appropriate IoT devices and network solutions moving forward. The next step is going to be to select the right devices and to select and implement the right network infrastructure. With your goals in mind, it's time to pick your components. You'll want to look at both the device and the infrastructure of the network. Let's start off with the device, the IoT devices. When choosing smart devices, some things that you have to consider are compatibility with your existing infrastructure. Will they work with what you have, or are you going to need to upgrade your network? Data security features, right? What kind of security is built into the device versus needing to be added to the network to protect it? Scalability, right? Is it easy to scale up? Especially if you're doing this as a test, is it going to be easy to scale that device from 1 to 10 to 100? What are the power requirements? Are you going to have to run power to different locations to power these devices? Do they use batteries? What's the maintenance look like? These are other things to ask yourself and look at and consider. Research reputable vendors and choose devices that have strong security protocols in place. Look for good firmware protection. This is really critical because we see, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on, but we see some cyber attacks are initiated through IoT devices. And so if you're picking a device that is manufactured from a plant overseas that has limited security controls in place, that they don't have regular firmware updates, they don't have password protection, they don't have good encryption. There's certain things that these manufacturers can build into the devices to allow for that strong security protocols to function and to work, and some don't have it, leaving them exposed to that internet connection to be able to then be an entry point for threat actors. All right, the next thing to look at is your network infrastructure. Your existing network might be great and it might be perfect, but it might also be lacking. It may not be equipped for the extra traffic and data generated by IoT devices. So as you ask yourself all of those questions that I already went over and come up with, okay, well, what kind of data, how much data, where is it going? You'll be able to analyze and make a decision on, well, is our existing network capable of that additional traffic and data generated? You may need to upgrade your bandwidth. You may also need to deploy separate networks for the IoT devices. You may decide to invest in dedicated gateways and access points for those IoT devices as well, ones that can manage the communication between the device and the cloud security. All right, our next step, we're going to talk about focusing on security throughout the journey of selecting and deploying IoT. Security is critical. It's paramount in the realm of IoT. Compromised devices can become gateways for cyber attacks, which I already mentioned. Malware attacks on IoT devices have increased 77% from the first half of 2022 to the second half of 2022. So here's some key security considerations when talking about IoT device security. First, you got to secure the device. You got to ensure that the device that you've selected has strong passwords. And I would suggest the first step to do is to change the password. When you get a device, make sure you change it and make sure you can set a strong password on it. These devices should also be updated to the latest firmware before you deploy them, and regularly checked and updated to the latest firmware moving forward. You want to choose devices that offer features like encryption and secure boot to make sure that they're able to be secure in that processing and submission of data that you're looking at. Also, it's important that you create separate networks for IoT devices and critical business systems. We don't want your smart thermostat on the same network as your business server that has all of your client information and critical data on it. Because if that thermostat's breached, now they've got access through that same network to your critical business systems. So by splitting those out onto separate networks, separate Wi-Fi, separate VLANs, there's various different ways of doing it. It minimizes the potential impact of a security breach and compromise on your core operations. Next, it's important to install network access control. Network access control systems such as multi-factor authentication restrict access to your network to only authorized devices. They also help you to enforce security policies automatically. Make sure that the only devices connecting are the ones that you know and trust. In the instance of the warehouse and those scooters I mentioned, if network access control had been implemented ahead of time, those scooters would never have been allowed to connect, thereby causing the problem. So that's another thing that can be put into place. Also, it's important that you track and maintain your IoT devices. Track your network, monitor it, and look for suspicious activity. Regularly update your security protocols and software to stay ahead of any evolving threats on your network that could come from these IoT devices. All right, next step. This is, we're kind of talking about now deploying and kind of ongoing management of your IoT. So once you've got the right hardware, right security, right network infrastructure, now it's time to deploy your devices. And here's some tips on deployment. First, you want to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully during installation and configuration. You want to make sure that you're testing and confirming the functionality of those IoT devices. And that should be done before fully integrating them into your network. Next, develop a comprehensive management strategy for your devices, including regular maintenance, firmware updates, and monitoring for any issues with that equipment. Finally, the final step in our process here is continuous learning and improvement. The world of IoT is constantly evolving, and so should your approach. And here's some tips for staying up and making sure that you're continually improving your IoT strategies. First, analyze the data. Check your IoT devices, that they're operational. Look at the data that they're collecting. That will help you gain insights, identify areas for improvement, and refine your strategy overall. As you get more data from these IoT devices, you may identify other gaps in your data that need other IoT devices and can further enable you to gather the information you need for managing your business. Embrace feedback from your team, from stakeholders within your organization. Use it to constantly refine your implementation and address any emerging challenges. And then stay informed. Keep yourself up to date with the latest trends and advancements in IoT landscape. That will empower you to adapt and leverage new technologies as they emerge. Successfully deploying IoT on your business network does require some careful planning, as well as prioritization of security and a commitment to continuous improvement within your organization. If you need any help talking about IoT adoption or making sure that your network's configured properly, I'm always here to help. I love answering questions and talking about technology, cybersecurity. You can always reach out to me or my team, direct message, comment on the video, use our website. There's lots of different ways to get in touch. We're all about technology and cybersecurity, glad to help however we can. Or if you're a business owner and you're eager to stay ahead of cybersecurity challenges in your industry, I've got a great opportunity for you. We started doing these every Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. We do weekly cybersecurity briefings. These are completely free of charge. It's an opportunity to connect with me, with my team, and some other local businesses to dive into the latest technology and cybersecurity industries that are affecting your industry and our community overall. And what sets our briefings apart is we tailor each session to what's going on in the specific industries of those that are attending. We do ask that you register so we know who's coming, and then we tailor that session to the needs of you and your industry, ensuring that you get targeted insights tailored to your business's unique needs. If you're ready to stay informed and empowered, check out the available dates via the link below or the QR code on your screen, and secure your spot for our next cybersecurity briefing. Let's see, I don't see any comments on our live audience. So if you do have any questions, comments, you can always contact me, as I said, via direct message. I appreciate your time in watching and joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you more next week. Thank you.